I don't know if you did hear what I just say a while ago. You know. The song we play first was Play Play by Rita Marley. And the next one we play was a lady by the name of Janis Joplin. For those of you who don't know these people, and those younger people that listen to me, just Google the name Janis Joplin. During the time of Jimi Hendrix and them people, she was big until drugs get them out. That was a rework, a Studio One rework of Janis Joplin, Mercedes-Benz song. And as we say, got to hold on to this feeling. Big song by Junior Walker, done by Rita Marley and Bob Marley. So now we go, we'll tell you, say, Saturday is the Iwama Award. You know, it's a award that started in Chicago and has been to many places in America. You know, we have been there from the beginning till now. I can safely say that I have more Iwama Award than any artist in the world. But you know, Pegasus Hotel is the place we're going to keep this Saturday. A very interesting thing that the brethren who keep it, Martin, has been doing it for 30 odd years. And with all of the other reggae awards come and reggae awards go, him still hold on upon it and still carry through till now. I think this is the 4th time it has come at Jamaica. I remember 2 times it keep long as so in a Oche, and 1 time it keep a Montego Bay. And now I'm going really to Kingston. So we wish him good luck upon it. I mean, everybody has the luck thing neither. Hope that the people them turn out and appreciate, say this is a man where spend 30 years of his life and support the music upon the level there. You understand? Okay, so make us see at the fire, so at this other player. Yeah, you know, so we have Martin on the line. Iel Martin. Iel.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. Always good to be back here and listening to the station that rule the nation morning, noon, and night, 24/7, Irie FM. And especially when you come onto a night like this, we know Mutabaruka runs it all the time.
Well, what an introduction.
well, you know, it's the truth.
I'm glad to say you're so happy. So you come forward Jamaica with the longest running award that celebrate Jamaican music and other music, but I could say Jamaican music because that's what it start out with.
Yeah, because Jamaica is the place. Jamaica, and let me say Kingston, of course, is the home of reggae music. And when you talk about reggae today, that is now all around the world. It all started here in Kingston, Jamaica, in 1968-69. Of course, 1968, but got internationalized in 1969. And since then, reggae is ruling the world now with over 2.5 billion fans estimated of reggae music. So we know that reggae is very powerful today, and we are very pleased to be in Kingston, Jamaica this weekend, May 11th, and Mother's Day weekend, also the day that Bob Marley made his transition, to be celebrating the reggae 50 years of reggae right here in Kingston, Jamaica.
All right, so tell me now, what is the thing that you're doing this year that you never do the rest of the year then, since it's Jamaica you're there?
Since
you have to give us something different.
So let me say, what we are doing differently, we are paying homage and honoring special those who have contributed, some of the music makers, some of the founding members of reggae music for 50 years of contributions to the music. They were there in 1968 and before, and they are still there now, keeping the music alive. We are honoring some of those people.
Okay.
In addition to that, we will be having some very special award of honor that will be handed out. Of course, we know that in the Hall of Fame, you, Mutabaruka, who in 37 years of our awards, capture the category for best spoken word over 30 times. And you have released, you have retired. You, not us. You said it's time for someone else to get this award. And you said, we said it will now be in your honor. And the award is now the Mutabaruka Awards for best spoken words and poets. And you have done a lot, and you will also be one of the recipients for the Lifetime Award, along with Tony Rebel and Boris Gardner.
Yes, the Tony Rebel is one of the masters, the hosts.
Yes. As a matter of fact, you have done some of
him
that.
Take him work. Him take him work.
Yes.
Him pay you off to take him work. Tony Rebel pay you off, Rasta. A long time I didn't stick here before, but Tony Rebel do not name Martin's Award. I don't hear all the politics. Mr. Tony Rebel cock up himself and stay say my MC.
But if you can recall, when you and Don Penn MC that award with Burning Spear in New Orleans.
No, New Orleans. The place flood out.
Prior to Katrina, that was the worst weather that you all MC.
Boss, me I tell you, me talk about that thing there from them time till now, man. Of all the places for go.
Yes.
Go meet this a storm like Katrina there. The place flood out.
Yes.
Me remember, man, Dan Penn and me was that time Tony Rebel never even know name New Orleans yet. And him come down about him at MC show. I'm a brethren, we had him go around the world already still.
Yeah, man.
So you have Dan Penn, you have no Dan Penn, you have Tony Rebel and Coffee Mayor, Coffee.
Yeah, Coffee. Making waves, she is on the rise. She's doing very well for herself.
She's not on the rise, she rise already.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Making waves seriously around the world. Because she came in with four nominations this year.
Okay,
and,
okay.
Yes, so she's doing very well. Yeah. And we look forward to an outstanding display of showmanship with her.
Let me ask you a question. Oh, you get in that something there? Oh, you get in there? You have to come by invitation, you have to have money, or it go? Or both?
Well, we make it convenient for the fans, because the fans are the ones who ultimately selected the winners in all the categories. Those in the music industry are the ones who selected the nominees. But once the nominees are selected, the fans then vote for the winners in all the categories. So at the awards, we know that there are lots of nominees and celebrities who want to walk the red carpet and mix and mingle with the people. So we have made it possible so that the general public can get certain tickets, including the VVIP. There's a limited amount that is open to the public to participate as fans in the VVIP. And then we have the VIP ticket.
What is a VVIP ticket? Me hear that thing that go around the place all of a sudden. What is a VVIP ticket?
Well, that's like a very, very important person like yourself.
You may go sit down on the stage?
No, you're going to be in the front row there. But you are the one walking the red carpet.
No, wait, hold on. We come here to see a go around, I'm not understanding. All right. One time when them say VIP, means, them part of a section and get a chair for sit down.
Mm-hmm.
No, where the VVIP there, in front of the VIP section?
No, yes, it's in front of the VVIP.
There were the camera people, them are going there, in front of the VVIP section.
No, they won't be. They will be positioned in a unique area where they will not affect anyone, any obstruction or anything like that. But they will be in their position and it won't be affected. But the VVIP are the ones who mix and mingle in the special reception. And do their interviews, walk the red carpet, etc.
Okay. So these are the nominees and all these people going to sit down at the VVIP place?
That is correct.
Oh, so you don't have to pay go there then. So you're not somebody like you can't pay going there then.
Well, some of them are in because they are nominated, so they don't have to pay.
No, I say nobody like suppose if you have two friends from abroad, them can't pay going at the VVIP.
Yeah, the friends can pay. You as the nominee won't pay.
No, wait, I'm not talking about the nominees them. I'm talking about people who want to sit down beside me.
Yeah. If they purchase the VVIP tickets, they may be able to.
How much is the VVIP ticket?
They're only $1.25.
Only one what?
$1.25.
Oh, you're going to want to tell the people how much for the ticket, brethren?
$1.25. I just said it.
125 US.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And 75 for the
VIP.
VIP.
And then the people them want to stand up or what?
Well, you know, regular people sometimes they like to stand up and move around, but
in the hotel, them not have to stand up. Them have to sit down.
But this is one thing that it's all seated. You know, of course you can move around a little more back, so desire, but it's a seated event with the nominees and presenters, performers to the front along with the sponsors. And of course, thanks also to IWFM. They are one of the sponsors that always when we're in Jamaica.
Yeah.
But over 168 entertainers were nominated this year.
You're serious?
And and some 68 awards will be given out.
A long night, man.
Yes, and I should let you know that also, I'm sure you know by now, that this was a history making here for us because for the first time we have recorded over 750,000
nominators.
And most of them are coming out of Africa, believe it or not.
Yeah, that's the sound good, man.
Yeah. So it shows the interest of people around the world who have great interest in reggae and want to participate.
But I want to tell the people them, you know, on behalf of whosoever knows you really did it from them time that struggle with the thing, you know. I want to say, boy, I really appreciate how you just go through no matter how the things stay. Because I did it with you. I'm see the hardship and the problems from Chicago to New Orleans to New York City to Miami. I mean, and after 30 years, brethren, you're powerful, man. If you really stick to it away there, I have to give your kiddos to that. Believe you me, man.
Well, I'm sure, you know, soon other people will be will coming in to take the reign and to run with the baton.
Well, if you do like me, then if you do like me. But you have the name stick up on it already. The name stick up on it already.
Yes. But don't forget, you know, this event, while we're talking, it's a serious one taking place in Kingston, Jamaica this year.
Yeah.
And you're going to see just about all the industry people, because based on what I can see so far, the most by far of the top reggae celebrities will be walking the red carpet next Saturday. They will be there. They will be, some of them will be performing, some will be presenting, and some will be accepting awards. So it's something that you just have to see. There are lots of foreigners who came out for the event. Some of them hanging out in Montego Bay and Ocho-Rios. I'm in Kingston. But on Saturday night, we are going to come together. They're representatives from more than 10 African countries who are here now. Some of them coming. They are from Australia, they are from Europe, they are from all around. But they are coming to show their love and support for the international reggae music.
Sweet, man.
And I want to make sure and I want to encourage our people here in Jamaica to be a part of it. It is your music, it's our music. So we just have to come out.
So Martin, you remember Disco Inferno?
Oh yes. Oh, you remember that? That's when we first touched there.
Oh, you mean Disco Inferno? I want to go here. I tell you.
Yeah, that was our 10th anniversary, and that was in 1991.
I was there, man. I was there.
Yes, Come Inferno. That was a powerful one.
Yeah.
You know, I remember Lionel Richie was on the outside, said, "Awesome!" You know.
You got through, man. I tell you, man. You got through. Perseverance is the key, man. You got through.
And then we came back in 2001.
Don't watch here, so.
we're right here in Ocho-Rios at the Renaissance Jamaica Grand.
Yes.
And
yes.
by popular demand, we returned in 2002.
Yes.
Before moving on to New York.
New
We
York.
stayed at the Apollo for the most part.
No, man, I think that, no, you go, I think you go New Orleans before you go New York, you know.
Yeah, man. New Orleans, well, let me remind you. New Orleans, we went for 1994.
Yeah.
Was when 1995 we went to New Orleans.
Not 2 times we go to New Orleans.
Being the man, Burning Spear, and,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
And then you go Miami.
Miami. Oh, the time, as a matter of fact, you're there the first time we went to Miami.
Yeah, man. Me did it at Chicago. You forgot something did it at Chicago.
Of course. Oh,
About that time we did at Chicago, in the armory,
yeah, that's when Farrakhan came over there. And
Yeah, that's when we meet Farrakhan, and that's when we meet him.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Farrakhan was always a supporter of us,
The only place you know go yet to Africa and South America.
And listen, oh boy, you need to hear African people calling us every year, even this year.
So where you don't go?
Well, Jamaica, we're trying to see how much Jamaica can appreciate it, and since it's our home, the home of the music, we're looking at other things, like I told these guys, especially from Ghana, or we may be able to work it in Africa. They would like, because they heard that we might be in Jamaica permanently, indefinitely, and they are proposing that we rotate between Africa and Jamaica. So everything is on the table. We'll see how much Jamaica really need the awards here.
I have to tell the people them about your other event where you have in Chicago.
Yeah. Well, we also have the Chicago Music Award.
No, not the Chicago Music Award, man.
Oh, there it is.
The live,
so, the African Caribbean International.
No, the
Festival
live, what do you call it again?
And that is coming up July 4th to the 7th.
Wait, no, man, the one when you live, something like that live.
That's the Festival of Life, the International
Festival of Life, may I try remember, man.
Yeah, but the other one is the Jerk Seafood and Vegan Festival.
Yeah, when we go, me remember when in the park at Chicago, I think I was me as Sparrow.
Oh, yes.
You did feature upon it. And when me looking at the park, me see more workers than audience. And then the years after when me come back, and I perform at the park, I think was where the youth them always sing, it wasn't Ashford and Simpson, but me did it with Ashford and Simpson too, but Blue Note.
The Blue Note, yeah.
Yeah, when me and Blue Note perform at the park, 100,000 people in the park.
Yeah, that was a massive one. That was big.
As some know say you're great, man. That you just stuck with the thing, just stick with the thing, and
as a matter of fact, you know that's when Obama first checked out your books, you know.
Yeah.
Before he became president.
Him live across the road from which part you keep it.
Exactly. 2 blocks over from you. From where we were having the festival.
I wonder if him still have my book. I wonder if him give him children them my book.
Yeah, hey.
Oh, you must call him and ask him, You must call him and ask him. Because you're my friend.
Sometimes you used to be friends, but after a while, you don't have to be friends.
You can't go road for president, you know. Trust me. You can't go road for president at all.
Not at all, not me.
Anyway, we look forward to it this Saturday. Pegasus Hotel from 7 o'clock.
Yes, and I want to remind you that we still have a few tickets going. We have the likes of Tony Rebel and Coffee Austin. We have Beanie Man, Capleton, Freddie McGregor. We have Spice and
Rita Marley and Bob Marley singing got to hold on to these feelings. When I was a child, I used to listen to it sung by Junior Walker. got to hold on to this feeling. Big song. If I was compiling an album right now with Rita Marley's hit songs, we know that this Saturday is the Irama. Pegasus Hotel. I think them say it start at 7 o'clock. Yeah, Ephraim Martin is back in Jamaica with his award ceremony. Yes, as we had said, I don't know if you did hear just a while ago, the song we play first was Play by Rita Marley, and the next one we play was a lady by the name of Janis Joplin. For those of you who don't know these people, I know younger people that listen to me, just Google the name Janis Joplin. During the time of Jimi Hendrix and them people, she was big until drugs get them out. That was a rework, a Studio One rework of Janis Joplin, Mercedes-Benz song. And as we say, got to hold on to this feeling. Big song by Junior Walker, done by Rita Marley and Bob Marley. So now we go, we'll tell you, say, Saturday is the Irama Award. You know, it's a award that started in Chicago and has been to many places in America. You know, we have been there from the beginning till now. I can safely say that I have more Irama award than any artist in the world. But you know, Pegasus Hotel is the place we're going to keep this Saturday. A very interesting thing that the brethren who keep it, Martin, has been doing it for 30 odd years. And with all of the other reggae awards come and reggae awards go, him still hold on upon it and still carry through till now. I think this is the 4th time it has come at Jamaica. I remember 2 times it keep long as so in a Oche, and 1 time it keep a Montego Bay. I know him going really to Kingston, so we wish him good luck upon it. I mean, everybody has the luck thing neither. Hope that the people them turn out and appreciate, say this is a man where spend 30 odd years of his life and support the music upon the level there. You understand? Okay, so make us see at the fire, so and this other player. Yeah, you know, so we have Martin on the line. Ian Martin. Ian.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. Always good to be back here and listening to the station that rule the nation morning, noon, and night, 24/7, IRE FM. And especially when you come onto a night like this, we know Mutabaruka runs it all the time.
Well, what an introduction.
well, you know, it's the truth.
I'm glad to say you're so happy. So you come forward Jamaica with the longest running award that celebrate Jamaican music and other music, but I could say Jamaican music because that's what it start out with.
Yeah, because Jamaica is the place. Jamaica, and let me say, Kingston, of course, is the home of reggae music. And when you talk about reggae today, that is now all around the world. It all started here in Kingston, Jamaica, in 1968-69. Of course, 1968, but got internationalized in 1969. And since then, reggae is ruling the world now with over 2.5 billion fans estimated of reggae music. So we know that reggae is very powerful today, and we are very pleased to be in Kingston, Jamaica this weekend, May 11th, and Mother's Day weekend, also the day that Bob Marley made his transition, to be celebrating the reggae 50 years of reggae right here in Kingston, Jamaica.
All right, so tell me now, what is the thing that you're doing this year that you never do the rest of the year then, since it's Jamaica you're there?
Since
you have to give us something different.
So let me say, what we are doing differently, we are paying homage and honoring special those who have contributed, some of the music makers, some of the founding members of reggae music for 50 years of contributions to the music. They were there in 1968 and before, and they are still there now, keeping the music alive. We are honoring some of those people.
Okay.
In addition to that, we will be having some very special award of honor that will be handed out. Of course, we know that in the Hall of Fame, Mutabaruka, who in 37 years of our awards, capture the category for Best Spoken Word over 30 times. And you have released, you have retired. You, not us. You said it's time for someone else to get this award. And you said you will now, we said it will now be in your honor. And the award is now the Mutabaruka Awards for Best Spoken Word and Poet. And you have done a lot, and you will also be one of the recipients for the Lifetime Award, along with Tony Rebel and Boris Gardner.
Yes, the Tony Rebel is one of the masters, the hosts.
Yes. As a matter of fact, you have done some of that.
Him take on work. Yeah, him take on work.
Yes.
Him pay you off to take on work. Tony Rebel pay you off, Rasta. A long time I didn't stick here before, but Tony Rebel do not the Martin's Award. I don't hear all the politicians, Mr. Tony Rebel cock up himself and stay say my MC.
But if you can recall, when you and Don Penn MC that award with Burning Spear in New Orleans.
No, New Orleans. The place flood out.
Prior to Katrina, that was the worst weather that you all MC.
Boss, me I tell you, me talk about that thing from them time till now, man. Of all the places for go,
yes.
Go witness a storm like Katrina there. The place flood out.
Yes.
Me remember, man, Dan Penn and me was that time Tony Rebel never even know nothing named New Orleans yet. And him come now about him at MC show. I'm a brethren, we have him go around the world already, still.
Yeah, right.
So you have Dan Penn, you know Dan Penn, you have Tony Rebel and Coffee Mayor, Coffee.
Yeah, Coffee. Making waves, she is on the rise. She's doing very well for herself.
She's not on the rise, she rise already.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Making waves seriously around the world. Because she came in with four nominations this year.
Okay,
and,
okay.
Yes, so she's doing very well. Yeah. And we look forward to an outstanding display of showmanship with her.
Let me ask you a question. Oh, you get in that something there? Oh, you get in there? You have to come by invitation, you have to have money, or it go? Or both?
Well, we make it convenient for the fans, because the fans are the ones who ultimately selected the winners in all the categories. Those in the music industry are the ones who selected the nominees. But once the nominees are selected, the fans then vote for the winners in all the categories. So at the awards, we know that there are lots of nominees and celebrities who want to walk the red carpet and mix and mingle with the people. So we have made it possible so that the general public can get certain tickets, including the VVIP. There's a limited amount that is open to the public to participate as fans in the VVIP. And then we have the VIP ticket.
What is a VVIP ticket? Me hear that thing that go around the place all of a sudden. What is a VVIP ticket?
Well, that's like a very, very important person like yourself.
You give me go sit down on the stage?
No, you're going to be in the front row there. But you are the one walking the red carpet.
No, wait, hold on. We come here to see a go around. I'm not understanding. All right. One time when them say VIP, means, them part of a section and get a chair for sit down. Mm-hmm. No, where the VVIP there, in front of the VIP section?
No, yes, it's in front of the VVIP.
There were the camera people, them are going in front of the VVIP section.
No, they won't be. They will be positioned in a unique area where they will not affect anyone, any obstruction or anything like that. But they will be in their position and it won't be affected. But the VVIP are the ones who mix and mingle in the special reception. And do their interviews, walk the red carpet, etc.
Okay. So these are the nominees and all these people going to sit down at the VVIP place?
That is correct.
Oh, so you don't have to pay going there then? So you're not somebody like you can't pay going there then?
Well, some of them are in because they're nominated, so they don't have to pay.
No, I say, nobody, like suppose if you have two friends from abroad, them can't pay going at the VVIP.
Yeah, the friends can pay. You as the nominee won't pay.
No, I'm not talking about the nominees them. I'm talking about people who want to go sit down beside me.
Yeah. If they purchase the VVIP ticket, they may be able to.
How much is the VVIP ticket?
They're only $1.25.
Only one what?
$1.25.
Oh, you're going to want to tell the people how much for the ticket, brethren?
$1.25. I just said it.
125 US.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And 75 for the
VIP.
VIP.
And then the people them want to stand up or?
Well, regular people sometimes they like to stand up and move around, but
in the hotel, them not have to stand up. Them have to sit down.
But this is one thing that it's all seated. Of course you can move around a little more back, so desire, but it's a seated event with the nominees and presenters, performers to the front along with the sponsors. And of course, thanks also to IWFM. They are one of the sponsors that always when we're in Jamaica.
Yeah.
But over 168 entertainers were nominated this year.
You're serious?
And and some 68 awards will be given out.
A long night, man.
Yes, and I should let you know that also, I'm sure you know by now, that this was a history-making here for us because for the first time, we have recorded over 750,000
nominators.
And most of them are coming out of Africa, believe it or not.
Yeah, that's the sound good, man.
So it shows the interest of people around the world who have great interest in reggae and want to participate.
But I want to tell the people them, on behalf of whosoever knows you really did it from them time they struggle with the thing, I want to say, boy, I really appreciate how you just go through no matter how the things stay. Because I'm there with you. I'm see the hardship and the problems from Chicago to New Orleans to New York City to Miami. I mean, and after 30 years, brethren, you're powerful, man. If you really stick to it away there, I have to give your kiddos to that. Believe you me, man.
Well, I'm sure, soon other people will be we're coming in to take the reign and to run with the baton.
Well, if you do like me, then if you do like me. But you have the name stick up on it already. The name stick up on it already.
Yes. But don't forget, this event, while we're talking, it's a serious one taking place in Kingston, Jamaica this year.
Yeah.
And you're going to see just about all the industry people, because based on what I can see so far, the most by far of the top reggae celebrities will be walking the red carpet next Saturday. They will be there. They will be, some of them will be performing, some will be presenting, and some will be accepting awards. So it's something that you just have to see. There are lots of foreigners who came out for the event. Some of them hanging out in Montego Bay and Ocho-Rios, some in Kingston. But on Saturday night, we are going to come together. There are representatives from more than 10 African countries who are here now. Some of them coming. They are from Australia, they are from Europe, they are from all around. But they are coming to show their love and support for the international reggae music.
Sweet, man.
And I want to make sure and I want to encourage our people here in Jamaica to be a part of it. It is your music, it's our music. So we just have to come out.
So Martin, you remember Disco Inferno?
Oh yes. Oh, you remember that? That's when we first touched there.
Oh, you mean Disco Inferno? I want to go here. I tell you.
Yeah, that was our 10th anniversary, and that was in 1991.
I was there, man. I was there.
Yes, Come Inferno. That was a powerful one.
Yeah.
You know, I remember Lionel Richie was on the outside, said, "Awesome!" You know.
Man, you go through, man. I tell you, man. You go through. Perseverance is the key, man. You go through. We give
and
thanks.
then we came back in 2001.
Don't watch here, so.
Yeah, we're here in Ocho-Rios at the Renaissance Jamaica Grand.
Yes.
And by popular demand, we returned in 2002.
Yes.
Before moving on to New York.
New York.
We stayed at the Apollo for the most part.
No, man. I think at that. No, you go. I think you go New Orleans before you go New York. You know.
Yeah, man. New Orleans. Well, let me remind you. New Orleans, we went for 1994.
Yeah.
Was when 1995 we went to New Orleans.
Not 2 times we go to New Orleans.
Seen the man burning spear and
yeah.
all that stuff.
And then they go Miami.
Miami. Oh, the time. As a matter of fact, you're there the first time we went to Miami.
Yeah, man. Me did it at Chicago. You forgot something did it at Chicago.
Of course. Oh,
about that time we did at Chicago, the armory.
Yeah, that's when Farrakhan came over there and.
Yeah, that's when we meet Farrakhan. That's when we meet him.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Farrakhan was always a supporter of us, you know.
The only place you know go yet to Africa and South America.
Listen, oh boy, you need to hear African people calling us every year, even this year.
So where you don't go?
Well, Jamaica. We're trying to see how much Jamaica can appreciate it, and since it's our home, the home of the music, we're looking at other things. You know, like I told these guys, especially from Ghana, or we may be able to work it in Africa. They would like, because they heard that we might be in Jamaica permanently, indefinitely. Yeah. And they are proposing that we rotate between Africa and Jamaica. So everything is on the table. We'll see how much Jamaica really need the award here.
I have to tell the people about your other event where you have in Chicago.
Yeah, well, we also have the Chicago Music Award.
No, not the Chicago Music Award, man.
Oh, there it is.
The live,
The African Caribbean International.
No, the live, what do you call it again?
Yeah. And that is coming up July 4th to the 7th.
Wait, no, man, where the one when you live, something like that live?
That's the Festival of Life, the International
Festival of Life. May I try remember, man.
Yeah, but the other one is the Jerk Seafood and Vegan Festival.
Yeah, when I go, me remember when in the park at Chicago, I think I was me as Sparrow.
Oh, yes.
You did feature upon it. And when me looking at the park, me see more workers than audience. And then the years after when me come back, and I perform at the park, I think was the youth them was sing, it was Ashford and Simpson, but we didn't know with Ashford and Simpson too, but Blue Note.
The Blue Note, yeah.
Yeah, when me and Blue Note performed at the park, 100,000 people in the park.
Yeah, that was a massive one. That was big.
As some know say you're great, man. That you just stuck with this thing, just stick with the thing, and
as a matter of fact, you know that's when Obama first checked out your books, you know.
Yeah.
Before he became president.
Him live across the road from which part you keep it.
Exactly. 2 blocks over from you. Yeah. From where we were having the festival.
I wonder if him still have my book. I wonder if him give him children them my book.
Yeah, hey.
Oh, you must call him and ask him, you know. You must call him and ask him. Because you're my friend.
You know, sometimes you used to be friends, but after a while, you know. You don't have to be friends.
You can't go road for president, you know. Trust me. You can't go road for president at all.
Not at all, not me.
Anyway, we look forward to it this Saturday. Pegasus Hotel from 7 o'clock. Yes,
and I want to remind you that we still have a few tickets going. We have the likes of Tony Rebel and Coffee, Austin, We have Beanie Man, Capleton, Freddie McGregor. We have Spice, and a whole host of other artists who will be performing. In the house, of course, we know Bounty Killer will be passing through. He's getting special awards, and so many, more than I can tell you.
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
100 odd people, 100 odd.
Exactly.
I know.
So, just come on and join us.
And I want to tell you, IRFM will be there. IRFM will be there.
IRFM will be there live, live. You can meet your favorite talent from IRFM right there on the red carpet.
All right.
But you can also we do have a few tickets there at the Pegasus. So if you go to the Pegasus, maybe between 10 and 6, you can get your ticket right there at the Pegasus Hotel.
Okay.
And like I said, limited amount of tickets still there, but you have a chance of getting it right there. Or you can go to irama.com, which is IRAWMA.com, or you can just go to touchstoneticketing.com for a further information.
All right, Bridget. So, we look forward to it, and I'll not say, yeah, man, you are the struggler, man. Trust me. We love how you stick with it.
We work together to make it work.
Yes.
And I could not have done it without your support, Tony Rebel, and all the other people who have been coming from the beginning, from the inception. So I give thanks to all of you, and for those people who continue to support the event to make it work.
Give thanks, Bridget. See you Saturday.
Peace.
Yes. Yeah, man, that was Martin, man. Ephraim Martin. The man who stand up there for 30 odd years, recognizing the significance of awarding the music industry, as we say it is. And now he's in Jamaica with it. So we hope that him get the support him deserve, because why Copeland Farbs? Copeland Farbs was there, and we know how it go. We see a whole heap of award come, and a whole heap of award gone. But they are still. This is the. You can see where I go on here, so. Make we see what's happening here. Okay, we'll find out what happened now. We'll find out what happened. Here we go now. See, look like them will get far with the government in a power. Okay, so last year, more time I kind of convert some video to audio. That's me can play it on the radio. Last year, me convert 2 video to audio. And so help me I look for them from last year. I look for them. I don't realize true, me don't remember the video number, because the video them come as number, and then you put them in the URL, and then you just transfer them to audio. But I couldn't remember it, and so happened that I look for something else and buck up the video them. It's not too late for play it. It's not too, but I go and play the 2 of them, I go and play the 2 of them, a conversation, and I go and play the one with a brethren where we meet up in a Ghana. I tell you, I hope Andrea Cabo can really bring that brethren that come at Jamaica, Yeah, I tell you, the brethren powerful in ability to him speak a whole heap of different African languages, and make him children them speak it too. But him is a lecturer at the university, and him have some serious information, and we articulate it. But we want to play it, and this is really 2 arguments about the statue. Because I remember them did remove a statue in South Africa, in Cape Town, of the brother named Cecil Rhodes. Cecil Rhodes statue was removed from South Africa, Cape Town, because of the history of South Africa as it relates to, southern Africa, what should I say, the history of Southern Africa as it relates to Cecil Rhodes. For those of you who don't know who Cecil Rhodes is, may I tell you, you have to go Google him. But the country that now named Zimbabwe was what's called, the country that is now called Zimbabwe was called Rhodesia. And Rhodesia come off as Cecil Rhodes' name. And if you can, if you ever hear the thing, the Rhodes Scholarship. It's a very serious thing. Rhodes Scholarship. Now, all the black people don't feel no way if you carry around that title of Rhodes Scholarship. That is like the Jews, they might have a Hitler Scholarship and give it to the Jews. Hitler Scholarship. Rhodes is responsible for many of death of African people from Zimbabwe to South Africa and beyond, and build up him wealth in a Southern Africa. Just like how you did have, I call him the King of Belgium, because he was the King of Belgium, because he never ever stepped foot in the place yet. Is responsible for millions of Africans from the Congo dead. But we hear about Hitler still, but we all hear about Cecil Rhodes. Well, they did move Cecil Rhodes statue in South Africa. And last year, them put up a statue of Mahatma Gandhi in Ghana, on the campus. The only statue on the campus. With all the great Ghanaians them that we can call out. The statue was given as a donation to the university. Mahatma Gandhi. Now a whole lot of people hear about Mahatma Gandhi and see him in a very almost kind of Masonic light. Well, I hate to bust your bubbles, but Mahatma Gandhi used to live in South Africa. And the other day when we go to South Africa, we're going to this museum. And Mahatma Gandhi picture and Nelson Mandela picture was right beside each other. Them give Mahatma Gandhi the same status as them give Nelson Mandela in South Africa. Can you believe that? Even though Mahatma Gandhi as a lawyer living in South Africa and moving was known as a racist. Yes, for those of you who never heard that before, Mahatma Gandhi was recognized as a racist, still recognized as a racist, because of the things that he said and did. So, them take down the statue in Ghana, in Malawi, they don't put up one of them old lamp on it. So, as I said last year, I look for the thing, I look for the thing and I buck up on it and I say it's not too late for play it. Not too late for play it. So we're gonna play this. Let's see what time. We're gonna play. I'm gonna play this first. We're gonna play this first. No, we're gonna play it. We're gonna play it. We want to play a reasoning on a television network about the statue that them put up in Ghana and it was taken down. And you're going to listen to the reasons, because a whole heap of people, I remember the Indian embassy called me and say, when they must celebrate, last year them called me and I thought I must write something about what Mahatma Gandhi mean to me. And I couldn't be a hypocrite. I never write it, because I know what them expect to hear. But I want you to listen to this. For those of you who don't know who is Mahatma Gandhi, they have a great movie named Gandhi. It don't show that side of him still. And it don't go into the books him write as it relates to him racist attitude towards African people. But listen.
Hi, I'm Femi Okay.
I'm Malika Bilal, and you're in the stream.
Today, was Indian independence icon Mahatma Gandhi racist? We explore his legacy as a statue of him is torn down in Ghana.
The story was pitched to us on Twitter by community member DJ Sila, but you too can be part of this conversation. Tweet us your thoughts or leave them in our live YouTube chat.
Hi, my name is Obianu Juekota. I am Nigerian. I run a Culture of Life Africa, which is a pro-life organization, and you are in the stream.
Mahatma Gandhi is famous worldwide for his non-violent resistance to British colonial rule. But last week, University of Ghana officials removed his statue from the campus, citing complaints from faculty and students that he was racist towards black Africans.
Donated to the university in 2016 by the Indian government, the statue drew criticism almost immediately, with critics using the hashtag Gandhi must fall to draw attention to derogatory statements the young Gandhi made while living in South Africa.
Here with us to discuss this in Accra, Obadele Kambon is a research coordinator of language, literature and drama at the University of Ghana. He's also one of the organizers of the Gandhi Must Fall campaign. In New Delhi, India, Rama Lakshmi is the opinion editor at The Print. And in New York, Zachariah Mampili is a professor of political science and Africana studies at Vassar College. Hello, everybody. It's really good to have you in the stream.
I want to start with a petitioner speaking to us from Ghana. She's also a professor of African and Ginger Studies at the University of Ghana, and she signed this petition to bring down that statue. Here is a short list of reasons why she thinks this is important. Akosua writes, the question to ask is, should an African university honor a non-African who had no direct relationship to Ghana with a statue when it has not honored any Ghanaian or African who served our interests or fought directly for us? Should an African university honor a man who devalued the freedom of Africans in South Africa? And should African universities receive such gifts uncritically and without consulting constituents? So loads to think about right at the top there, Obadele. Talk to us about how this statue got to the University of Ghana.
Very good. We actually have a timeline in a forthcoming article with Roads Must Fall. And it came as part of the president of India, Pranab Mukherjee, coming and giving a speech. And it's actually come to light that actually India is going all around the world putting statues of Gandhi around. And the way that I came into the discussion is that, again, people weren't consulted. People here, staff, students were not consulted. It just came, and I guess it was the idea of who could possibly have an issue with Gandhi. So as I was driving, I just looked and I said, oh, look, here's a statue of Gandhi. So I actually went, took a photo, and then sent that out with about 50 or more of Gandhi's most racist quotes. From there, the vice chancellor of the university, who's actually the one who approved it, he said, oh, I think he changed later on in life. So then I sent other quotes from luminaries like Baba Saheb Ambedkar about Gandhi's oppression of the Dalits, which are the black untouchables of India later on in life. And, essentially what we're dealing with is, to some degree, cognitive dissonance. So people are having, their assumptions based on the Gandhi movie, which was financed by India in large part. They're having those assumptions questioned, and now they're trying to, save this hero or icon that's been foisted upon them due to what we term impropaganda, which is improper propaganda about Gandhi. And, Gandhi was in no small part a progenitor of that through his autobiography. So people who come to the autobiography first, then they tend to be the ones who are like, Gandhi is great. Those who come to the collected works of Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, those are the ones who tend to have, a much more accurate and factual opinion of Gandhi based on his actual writings.
Zachariah, when you look, I'm just going to show you the petition here. So the petition that was launched from the University of Ghana, the Obadele was part of, Gandhi's statue at the University of Ghana must come down. You see that statue of Gandhi, and there are so many around the world. When you look at him, represented like this, what do you see?
I think Obadele is correct to point out that the politics of why the statues were put up in the first place is complicated, and we should point out that the Indian government currently is a far-right, radical Hindu nationalist government, in fact, a party that has close links to the man who killed Gandhi. So it is unfortunate to see how he's been appropriated in such a narrow Hindu nationalist frame. And if that was the basis for which people were challenging his legacy, I would have no objection. But I think that, the ways in which the critique of Gandhi in Ghana and elsewhere in Africa has been put forth is largely based on a fabrication that emphasizes his politics early in his career when he was very much a racist in line with British colonial values of the time, and ignores his much longer history of engaging with black political figures as well as thinkers that fundamentally transformed the way we should think about his racial politics.
Zachariah, people are going to be listening to this and watching this and thinking, what do you mean Gandhi was racist? Explain.
Well, Gandhi was a British-trained lawyer who first went to the UK at the age of 19. He was from an upper caste family. They were administrators in the colonial government. And he very much embodied and believed strongly in the ideals of Western civilization at the time, which were premised on various forms of white supremacy. And it's not surprising that as a lawyer in South Africa, he espoused many views which we should all reject today and which were clearly offensive. But we don't remember Gandhi for his colonial ideals. What we remember him for is how he transformed into an anti-colonial figure. And that doesn't really happen until around 1919, when he leaves South Africa and then goes to India. And after a few years in India, having observed the brutality of the Amritsar massacre, denounces Western civilization and Western colonialism uniformly. And that's the point where I think his views on race transform substantially.
Zachariah, here's one person online who did know that history. This is Miss B. Mac, Miss Scholarly Info on Twitter. She writes in, I know the history and I'm proud of my alma mater that they got to action, speaking of the University of Ghana. She goes on to say, I first learned about Gandhi's speeches where he publicly described Africans as, quote unquote, savages in undergrad. I took South Asian literature as well as Black World Studies coursework. We were reading primary documents, so it wasn't just hearsay. So Rama, I'm wondering what you thought when you saw this news, keeping in mind you wrote this piece, posted on the Washington Post back in 2015. You see the headline here. What did Mahatma Gandhi think of black people? Rama, what were your thoughts when you saw the statue come down?
I wasn't surprised at all. I had been following the news for some years. I had been following a lot of email exchanges, and the publisher of this book that I wrote about in 2015 was keeping me posted about what's going on in the campaign. So on social media, I would constantly read about these oppositions. So I wasn't surprised. What is really unfortunate, or what's really ironical, is that this is all coming out at a time when Indian government is getting ready to commemorate the 150th birth anniversary of Gandhi. And this is what Zakaria talked about, is the Hindu nationalist government here. And they have set aside over...
We'll come back to Rama. We've lost the connection. It's just frozen just for a moment. Obadali, I heard you sort of smiling in a slightly ironical way there as Rama was talking about this anniversary of Gandhi coming up. Why did you do so?
Yeah, it's actually interesting. So what Professor Mamphili brought up, just in terms of what we term mode diplomacy, we've actually written an article that connects this to the global geopolitics, where Narendra Modi was known for his participation in actually, this 2002 Gujarat riot, which is also described as a pogrom in which many of the Muslims were, killed off, estimates up to 1,000 of them. And what we see is, Modi, and also Rama wrote an article about how India itself is the #1 importer of arms and weapons in the world, and that was in 2014. Another updated article came out in 2018. But what I think, and this is the point that wasn't touched on by Professor Mamphili, was that what Modi is doing is he's really following in the footsteps of Gandhi, in the sense of using Gandhi as the face of peace and things of that nature, but actually, fomenting war. India has nuclear weapons, weapons of mass destruction, so forth and so on, but they're giving this soft power face to the world. Now, if you look at Gandhi, he supposedly took this brahmacharya vow in 1906, but then in 1907, he's saying, let's go back to the war front. He said that his whole rationale was so that they could get military training, so that they can use rifles. Now, let's look at his later life, because this is one thing that isn't done often enough, is that people look at, his time in South Africa being anti-black, but then they don't look so much at his time in India being anti-black. And I want to quote Baba Saheb Ambedkar, where he said, everybody felt that Mr. Gandhi was the most determined enemy of the untouchables. The main purpose for which Mr. Gandhi came to the Round Table Conference was to oppose the demands of the untouchables. He actually coerced them through a fast unto the death to sign this Pune Pact, where they had to give up their separate electorates, they had to give up the double vote and other things. And he said you should be trustees.
So I'd like to address what he's saying, which is, yes, Gandhi has always been a complex figure, and he's a father of nation. Every Indian is taught to worship Gandhi right from school, from every textbooks. But there's always been questioning of Gandhi. He's right about Baba Saheb Ambedkar. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, who was Dalit scholar and lawyer and the person who drafted the Constitution, chaired the panel that drafted the Constitution, he mounted the most formidable challenge ideological challenge to Mahatma Gandhi when Gandhi was alive on the caste issue, that Gandhi didn't go far enough. And even when Gandhi was alive, there were many freedom fighters who said his pacifist route was too slow. So there was constant, and it's ironic because the person who shot him is the man who thought Gandhi was pro-Muslims. Right, and then you see that in South Africa, Gandhi used the word kafir, which is a derogatory term for Muslims. So that Muslims use. So Gandhi was a bundle of contradictions, right? Like any complex human being. The problem is when you declare somebody a Mahatma or a great soul, and then you decide to worship that person for the rest of your life for posterity. That's where the problem comes. I think in the 150th year, as I wrote, the best way to commemorate the 150 years is not to garland his statues or worship him, but to critically engage with the man. Yes, there were problems. Yes, he was the biggest advocate of non-violence and civil disobedience, which is the greatest legacy for all social movements, even today in India, all environmental movements, even today in India. But having said that, his observations on race, on caste, hugely problematic. But he's, after all, a human being. Even today, his grandson, Gandhi's grandson wrote an op-ed today in the newspaper in India, addressing this issue. He's speaking to this issue in Ghana, and he said, he quoted Mandela saying, let's not apply the 21st century lens to study Gandhi. He says Gandhi must be judged in the context of his time and circumstances. And he also said Gandhi never wanted statues, and he never asked for statues. Just like Ghana.
So Rama and Obadele, just take a pause for a moment, because hold tight for me, Obadele, just for a moment, because I want to bring in another voice here. We actually spoke to Mahatma Gandhi's granddaughter, Ela Gandhi, and we asked her about what do you make of this Gandhi Must Fall campaign and the reviewing of your grandfather's legacy, and this is what she told us.
Certainly, Gandhiji did not hold the kind of views that are purported, that he held by some people, by a few activists who are saying that today. I think that they need to read the other books. They have only read one book, which gives the negative side of Gandhiji. There were many things on which he changed his views in later life. And so I think that it's what he left behind, the legacy that he left behind is what we have to look at.
She talks about the legacy he left behind. So I want to bring in a few comments on that specifically. This from Osman on YouTube, who says Gandhi is associated with peace and truth throughout the world. He even inspired a lot of African leaders, such as Nelson Mandela. However, he was an imperfect human being. And over on Twitter, Peter here says he made it clear, speaking of Gandhi, that he fought for Indian liberation only, and he never saw Indians as equal to Africans. So, Zachariah, talk to us about a complicated legacy and how you pick apart such a complicated legacy.
Yeah, I think I mentioned two things. I mean, first, I'm unhappy with the way in which the Gandhi Must Fall movement has moved forward, mainly because I think that it is not trying to deal with this in a way that I consider to be consistent with Pan-African or Black radical politics. Gandhi's legacy in Africa, as has already been mentioned, is complicated. But you cannot deny that he spent decades of his life engaging with a variety of different black political figures in very substantive and meaningful ways that would suggest that we have to think that they were naive, or they didn't understand the racial politics of the time, or that they were openly engaging with the racists. And I find that hard to believe. I mean, W.E. Du Bois, who himself died a Ghanaian citizen, was a close follower of Gandhi. They had mutual exchanges that were very, I think, intellectually productive for both of them. And how do we reconcile those kind of substantive engagements with black struggles globally with the caricature that is being put forth today? And the second thing I wanted to say, I think, unfortunately, unlike something like Fees Must Fall or Rhodes Must Fall, which were truly anti-colonial struggles and which have been linked to a variety of other issues in South Africa, like free education or the lack of basic services, what I see with Gandhi Must Fall, and I'm happy to be educated otherwise, is a very sort of nationalist reaction to any sort of internationalist politics. And I find that to be disappointing in terms of what is actually needed right now in the face of these kind of right-wing nationalist politics that we see globally, from Brazil to the United States, and I think increasingly in parts of Africa as well, and certainly in India too.
Obatele?
Yeah, I just wanted to touch one on the Kafir issue, because that came up. That I want to actually quote Gandhi, 1907, where he said. And
before you do that, let me just, Obatele, do you want to explain the weight of the word, of the K word, for certain people? Well, just for South Africans, the weight of that word, because you have to explain that before you quote something. Go ahead. Very good.
So Gandhi himself, he talked about the Chandal, and he said that if the term Kafir is a term of opprobrium, then how much more the term Chandal, being used for the Dalits. So this means that Gandhi himself understood the term Kafir as a word. It's like the N-word in the U.S. It's a term that has been actionable by law since the 1970s, where if you use it, you can be charged of a hate crime. Now, this is a double standard that we see with Gandhi. So in 1907, he takes, reservation about being called a coolie. He says one hears the term coolie lawyer, coolie doctor, coolie merchant, coolie marries. And he says he is even denied, talking about the Indian, the not always obvious privilege of riding in the same municipal tram cars with his white fellow colonists. He says his children are afforded no facilities for education except they attend the school set apart for Kafirs. So in the exact same quote that he is, taking this stand against being called a coolie, which is, we call it a coolie, which is, we could say an equivalent term against the.
What do you mean by duped? What do you mean by duped?
Yeah, by duped, I mean that they read, for example, his autobiography, where he said that his no grudge against the Zulus, and he was happy to hear that he would be part of the ambulance corps that would be nursing Zulus, and his work consisted of nursing only wounded Zulus. Now, that's Gandhi, the, what I could say, pathological liar. Because when you read his writings at that time, he's saying we need rifles, we need to be trained for warfare. Our whole thrust in being part of the ambulance corps is so that we can later on get military training, so that we can get warfare, we can get rifles.
Obatele, just take a pause for a moment, because we want to bring in some other comments on what you're saying and the discussion that we've been having so far.
So pathological liar, strong words there. I want to bring in someone who might disagree with you. This is Maddie on Twitter. She says, all of those racist comments, like the ones you just read, were from before his quote-unquote awakening. For me, it won't change his hero status achieved by fighting colonialism later on. Obadele, I hear you, but I just want to continue to share Maddie's viewpoint. She says, we have a hospital named after him in Ethiopia, and I don't wish for that to change. Now, someone is another organizer who I read at the top of the show, Professor Okusua, says this is true, but the University of Ghana erected Gandhi after those so-called complicated pasts had been extensively written about and at a time when no African hero graced our campus. So she already pushed back on Maddie's comment there. But I want to bring in one more voice. I want to bring in one more voice.
Incorrect. Because she said that was before his change. And
some of them were after. I hear you, especially because they were written in a different language than many of these historians were unearthing. I hear you, Obadele. I hear you, and I think Maddie might hear you as well if she's watching the show. But I want to bring in one more perspective who merges those two comments I just read. This is someone who sent us a video comment, Priya. She's a professor at the Boston College in Massachusetts, and here's how she sums it up.
Most people are complicated. They hold contradictory beliefs and act inconsistently over their lifetimes, and I think Gandhi was no exception. He had troubling views on certain issues, but also played a critical role in inspiring anti-colonialism and social justice movements in Asia, Africa, and around the world. The Gandhi Must Fall movement makes me wonder, personally, why we have found the need to build so many statues to try to make absolute heroes out of imperfect leaders in the first place, when perhaps there are better ways for us to commemorate the everyday popular struggles that ultimately brought an end to colonialism.
Zachary, I'll give that one to you. Better ways to commemorate some of these leaders and figures.
Absolutely. I think that, we can pick apart the legacy of any number of anti-colonial figures by digging into their past, and it's certainly appropriate for us to do that. But I think what gets missed in all of these stories, and I think here is where I agree to some degree with Professor Obadele, is, why are we venerating figures from the past in the first place? And I think there is a politics to it, and that should be interrogated. And I think that where Gandhi Must Fall is challenging the Indian nationalist politics of the current government, I fully support their agenda. I think what I find disappointing is the ways in which we are questioning, his legacy, not by providing a fuller and more complicated picture of who Gandhi was and who any of our heroes was, or even asking the question of why we need to erect statues to these figures instead of celebrating everyday, ordinary people who struggle to live lives of basic dignity. But instead, we are getting caught up in these sort of nationalist and reactionary politics that are unfortunately unfolding in many different places around the world. So I don't think simply erecting more African leaders to replace the Gandhi statue is any sort of improvement, and they would be susceptible to the same kind of critiques that we are seeing leveled against Gandhi as well.
Rama, may I just show you a couple of pictures here? This is from the Hindustan Times, Mahatma Gandhi statue vandalized in South Africa. And then this one here with Obadele triumphantly standing on the plinth that once held Mahatma Gandhi. So happy that he has gone as a statue. How are some Indians processing what is now happening around the world to somebody as well thought of as Mahatma Gandhi?
Again, there are many people who are defending Gandhi, and their defense rests on two things. One is that the man evolved, right? And they quote later quotes. Of course, in 47 he may have said something, and then in 42 he said something else. Mm-hmm. So there are as many quotes that you can bring up to buttress your argument. So there are people who say he changed, he evolved. Yes. And then there are those who say we should not use today's lens to study Gandhi. He was a product of his times. These are the two defense.
So Rama, we're at the end of the show, but I hear the debate that is also going on, not just outside of India, but inside India. Thank you, guests, for this conversation. Malika?
Both sides here on Twitter and...
Conversation a while ago about the statue that was taken down in Ghana. The brethren, the African brethren in it that was speaking, a Ghanaian brethren who teaches at the university, where we just tell you, say, him teach him them, him talk a whole heap of different African languages. And I said before, I hope, say, one of the time when them have the Marcus Garvey award, the Marcus Garvey celebration, them would bring him here to speak. We want to play him now speaking about Garvey and the taking down of the Gandhi statue in Ghana. Very important that we talk. We talk. This is an interview that they did with him personally now, not a conversation like what we just hear where him couldn't get to talk no length of time because the lady keep cutting into other people. So we want to play him now.
I opposed the petition because I was already familiar with Gandhi and who he was. And as a matter of fact, I was driving right along this road behind us, and I saw the statue. I said, who is this? And I looked and I saw it's Gandhi. And I said, people must not know who this man is. And I took some photos, and then I sent an email to all staff here at the University of Ghana, along with about 70 of his most racist quotes. Not a few, but like about 77 of his most racist quotes to everyone on campus. Now, the reaction from most people was we had no idea. We saw the movie. We thought this is a great guy. The movie, which was sponsored by the Indian government as a piece of propaganda, but that's a sidebar. But most people had no idea, much less had they researched and read. Now, the complete works of Mahatma Gandhi, or as we prefer, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, is out there. Everything that he has ever written is all together in, I want to say, 99 volumes thereabout. So you can go through letters that he's written, so forth and so on, and things that he's written in Hindi and Gujarati. And this is really the issue, that there were so many people who thought he was so great because they can't read Hindi. They can't read Gujarati. If Dr. Martin Luther King could read it, or Nelson Mandela could read it, or Kwame Nkrumah could read it, they would have had a vastly different picture. But now, for us as researchers, I'm a research coordinator at the Institute of African Studies, Language, Literature, and Drama, so I've read about Gandhi, and my first time hearing about it, a historian, Dr. John Henrik Clark, he said that Mahatma Gandhi was a fraud and a faker. I heard this back in the early 90s, like 92 thereabout. I said, wow, I wonder where he's coming from with this. So I started reading about it. I started reading about the plight of the untouchables. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who wrote the book, What Congress and Gandhi Have Done to the Untouchables. So once you know better, you have to do better. And this is really a blow for black dignity, black self-respect, striking out throughout the world.
Many parts of the world hail Mahatma Gandhi. Why Africa should oppose such a figure?
Very good. When we think about it, we have to put it in context in terms of who was Gandhi to us as black people. And when you are familiar with the history, you come to find that he was actually a sergeant major in the army fighting against the Zulus, in which thousands and thousands of Zulus were killed. And he was also the one who really instituted what we could call institutional apartheid there in South Africa, because he was the one who clamored to make sure that the Indians could have a different office a different entrance into the post office and to the telegraph office there in Durban, South Africa. That he was someone who was a virulent racist. He agitated to get guns so that they could shoot all of the Kaffir blacks, but because the British didn't regard him as high enough as the British, even though he said that we're all coming from the same Indo-Aryan stock, they didn't give him guns. And we're happy, because otherwise he would have been as bad as Colonel Dwyer, who shot down so many Indians. The only difference between Gandhi and Dwyer is that Gandhi just didn't get the opportunity and didn't get the weapons. So anytime we look at anything, we should see it from our perspective, an African-centered perspective, as we do at African Studies. So as African people, what did he do for or against African people? And we can look at not only his words, but his deeds in fighting in wars against the black people. When he went back to India, he fought against the Dalits, who are the black untouchables of India. So these are the things that many people are not aware of, but as soon as you become aware of it, you have to do something different. You have to change your behavior.
Some also may have said that this is an academic community and should have known better. But why do you think University of Ghana would in the first place have such a figure erected on campus?
Very good. Now, people did not know better. and people were not consulted in general. So this was something that was done by the higher-ups. We won't say any names, but we know who they are. And they decided to just place a statue because I'm sure that they were under the same impression of most of the world, where if you go to a Martin Luther King memorial, you'll see Gandhi there. If you go to Senegal, you'll see Gandhi. They put these statues, South Africa, they put these statues all over, and it literally depends on ignorance for anyone to accept the statue. Now the people in Malawi heard what we did here, and they have a court injunction where they stopped the statue from being there, because for us as black people, we have to have black dignity, we have to have black self-respect. If you say that, oh, my plate is nothing but a rubbish bin, then the whole world will collect rubbish in it. But when you say my plate is a wonderful plate, then people are willing to eat off of it. So when we don't have respect for ourselves, when the rest of the world, you go to Europe and they are throwing bananas at you when you're playing football, when you go to India and they're beating you down, when you're going to the US, the black person does not have a very high level of respect in the world, but it starts from self-respect. If someone who called you 1 degree removed from an animal, you put him on a campus at a black university, an African university, it means that you must not know very much about yourself. But it's not everyone who's in that position. So those of us who knew, who have read, who studied, we are the ones who agitated. Because imagine if you put, again, Colonel Dwyer was this British man who shot down so many of these Indians in a massacre. Imagine if you put him in a university at New Delhi. Imagine if you put him at a university. It means that you, all the scholars, you must not know anything about your history. It will be a slap in the face, and that's how many of us took it, as a slap in the face, that some of us know better, and we don't just go along with the propaganda, or what some of us call impropaganda. It's improper propaganda about Gandhi.
A lot of people also say this might mar the relationship between Ghana and India, especially now that the statue of their former leader has been taken away. Don't you think this would cause some kind of skirmishes between the two countries?
You know, actually, I just answered an email from someone in India, Colonel G.B. Singh, probably the world's foremost scholar on Gandhi. We have been in contact with Arundhati Roy, so many Indians who have been collaborating on this project and really have been part of the force that have helped to publicize it as well. Now, what this means is that you have in India is not as united as you may think, that you have castes, right? So you have the Brahmins, you have the Kshatriyas, you have the Vaishyas, you have the Shudras. So all of these are the castes that are part of Hinduism on the simple scale, because even in that you have subgroupings. So Gandhi himself was Banya, which is a subcaste of the Vaishyas. Now, even outside of that, you have the outcasts, you have the Dalits, you have the untouchables, the black untouchables of India, and these are the ones who are downtrodden. So the people of India, there are so many Indian groups, some who have even done videos that are up online supporting us in this, that there are some who have been downtrodden ever since these Indo-Aryans have been crushing them on the basis of they consider themselves to be white, and they know that the indigenous people there are black. And that's part of why when black students like yourself go there to study, they're beaten to death. A man in Congo was beaten to death in broad daylight in India. Why? Because they treat black Africans the same way they treat their indigenous black people there. You understand? And again, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar said that Gandhi was the worst enemy of the untouchable people. So I want you to put these things in perspective. So it's not all of India, it's these upper caste Hindus who have been impressing the black people there in India. So we should not get it marred. So if you have upper caste elites here who are connected to those upper caste white Indo-Aryans, we have to start now questioning these elites. What are you doing, in that relationship with them? Because those of us who are on the ground, the people, we're connected to the black people there in India. We have solidarity with the black people there in India.
Okay. So finally, is this the end to the hashtag Gandhi Must Fall movement, especially now that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has taken over the statue of this individual we are talking about?
As I mentioned, in Malawi, they're still fighting. And matter of fact, I got an email from someone from Malawi, Mkotama. He says, we will not relent, congratulations, we will not relent, we will keep the fight. And I said, beautiful, that's all we can expect and all we can hope for. Again, truth has to reign. No matter how popular the lie is, even if a lie takes 1,000 years to go on a journey, in a single day, truth will catch up to it. And that's really what the story of Gandhi is all about. And I'm aware that the government of India has a program through soft power where they're trying to put these statues, they've commissioned this. as a government to put these statues of Gandhi all around the world. And we can look at it as their proxy war with China for soft power. If you remember the border dispute that just happened last year, that China is very heavy in Africa because everyone knows, except for Africans, that whosoever controls Africa controls the world. All of the coltan for your phone to work, the blood diamonds, the uranium that powers France, every single thing that you can imagine, whoever controls Africa controls the world. So we have to now look at this. India is the one who built Flagstaff House, which is now again Jubilee House. They said that they would give $200 million to make a new parliament building. So what they're saying is that we've bought your president and we've bought your parliament. This is what they're trying to tell us. And then I saw Nanado, who was standing there with a check for $1 million to renovate right after this Gandhi situation came in. So we have to now question this. Are we just going to be pawns in a proxy war with China and India? Because everyone is coming here. The U.S. is coming here with a military base. The British, Francophonie, we're hearing all these things. Everyone is rushing to Africa, but many of our youth are rushing across the Sahara Desert to the Mediterranean. What do all these people see that we do not see? What type of education are we getting here if all of our students, our young people, have an unemployed graduate association and can't understand that we have to come together as black people, regardless of location, for black issues of black dignity and black self-respect? So I don't think it's done, because I know that they have many more statues there as they're trying to push in soft power, the Kumkum Baja, all of these things that we're seeing, the Confucius Institute from China. Everyone is trying to get a foothold here in Africa. So I don't think it's done.
Not to even say if the ministry wants to erect this particular structure anywhere on the soil of Ghana, it's not necessary?
That's a major concern. So people were asking me, even my colleague, Dr. Apia Jetria, who was at the School of Law, he says, have you heard where it's going? I said, no, I haven't heard, because they did, just the way they brought it under the cover of darkness, they didn't tell anyone that this is going on, a very small thing, the same way it left this morning and no one knew. I got a call from Radio Universe that says, the thing is gone. Can you tell us your thoughts? I say, you're the one who's informing me. I didn't even know it's gone. So these are the things, if it comes up, this is why I would say a luta continua, because we don't know where Gandhi will rear his ugly head next. Okay. He will go all over as part of the soft power face of India.
I'm grateful. But finally, I want you, pick your thoughts on how a security guard was put in here to, guard the statue.
This is an excellent question. Now, on campus, things are not always peaceful. That we've had women who have been attacked on campus. It's not rampant, it's generally a peaceful place, but there were no security guards given to every single woman to protect her. These are real life African women. You understand? But meanwhile, an inanimate object, a statue, has 24/7 security. What does that tell you about what I was saying before about respect? How can anyone in the world respect someone who would do something like that? You don't value your own people, the black people who are the Africans, continental Africans, who are being beaten to death right there in India. Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we haven't heard anything from them about that to date. I check the news all the time. I've studied about India. I've read about the untouchables for decades now. You understand? But I haven't heard anything protesting either the plight of the Dalits, the black untouchables there, or about the African students who are getting beaten every single day because they're getting the same treatment that the indigenous black people are getting there. So I would just say, in short, if I can be short on this issue, I think it's a travesty. You understand that you have 24/7 security on an inanimate object. Meanwhile, the suffering of our black people there in India.
This is the Cultural on Ira FM. The time is 10 minutes past 12 o'clock.
Brothers and sisters, this is Charlie. Join us with respect for our national anthem. Let us stand and defend this one. Peace and love. Thank you. Eternal Father, bless our land, guide us with thy mighty hand, keep us free from evil powers, do our life through countless hours, to our leaders, great defenders, great true wisdom from above. Justice, truth, True. Be us forever, Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica, 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 land we
I'm Sly Dunbar.
I'm my name Robert Shakespeare.
Stay tuned to RFM Mutabaruka.
Right now, this is the Colonial saying, it's a Muta. The man rough. Him just tough. Cutting head, sharp.
Cutting edge. Why you love Tanso? No, I have to tell you Tanso why you love all the ones them in California who know Tanso, you know. Yes. We were speaking mango this morning. Tanso said Tanso back. Why you love Tanso, you know, why you love Andrew too, yes. Big up Andrew. Yes, brethren. Give thanks, you know. Yeah, give thanks. Cases, you know. That those two clips about the statue of Mahatma Gandhi and his relationship with South Africa and the untouchables leave much to be desired. Give you enough thoughts to considering a lot of people impression about Gandhi. You know, it's a serious thing. A whole heap of people don't even want to hear those things because of them understanding from before. Them don't want nothing comes shatter them comfort zone. But we never there to make you feel comfortable, at least sometime. Listen to this. Listen to this.
It is already too late, said Oberika sadly. Our own men and our sons have joined the ranks of the stranger. They have joined his religion and they help to uphold his government. If we should try to drive out the white men in Umuofia, we should find it easy. There are only two of them. But what of our own people who are following their way and have been given power? They would go to Umuru and bring the soldiers, and we would be like Abame. He paused for a long time and then said, I told you on my last visit to Mbanta how they hanged Aneto. What has happened to that piece of land in dispute? Asked Okonkwo. The white man's court has decided that it should belong to Nama's family, who had given much money to the white man's messengers and interpreter. Does the white man understand our custom about land? How can he, when he does not even speak our tongue? But he says that our customs are bad, and our own brothers who have taken up his religion also say that our customs are bad. How do you think we can fight when our own brothers have turned against us? The white man is very clever. He came peaceably and quietly with his religion. We were amused at his foolishness and allowed him to stay. Now he has won our brothers, and our clan can no longer act like one. He has put a knife on the things that held us together, and we have fallen apart.
Yes, cutting edge. You know, as long as I think on the reasoning about Gandhi, you know, and I say, it's just amazing that we actually had a statue of Queen Victoria down a parade. Yes, a whole heap of people don't know that, but there was, as a matter of fact, the park, the name Victoria Park, and the pier named Victoria Pier. It come from Queen Victoria. There was a statue of her in a Victoria Park, now named William Grant Park. I want to look at the brethren who sent me the picture we had never seen before, and it's such a gem with Marcus Garvey, William Grant, and Leonard Howell standing and posing for the picture. It's a beautiful picture, brethren. I don't even know your name, but if you are listening, say your name, yeah. But yes, that picture with Marcus Garvey, Leonard Howell, and William Grant. Beautiful picture, man. Yes, somebody that say Victoria Pier, Victoria Park, the government take it down and put Bustamante on one end and Manley on the next end. Rename the park William Grant Park. Foreshore Road, rename Marcus Garvey. We have a statue down a Centennial, right when you go to Marcus Garvey School. It's a statue of Christopher Columbus. Yes, a statue of Christopher Columbus. And we were taught in school so many things about Columbus, but now we know different. We can't continue the same narrative, keep saying the same thing over and over. And we know say no go so. And everybody know that Christopher Columbus, his India was intention. Christopher Columbus' intention was to go to India. I hope people do every do. Some big people are listening to me and ask me, I wonder where Muta get them thing there from, you know. Christopher Columbus' intention was to go to India. And him end up on here, so. Believe same the day India said where? West of India. And we keep repeating the same narrative, and it's a lie. This is not India. But we keep repeating the same thing over and over and over. And keep repeating it over and over. Eventually make it become true in the minds of the people them who don't search and analyze and critically think for themselves that this is not India. How much child in a school and how much children in a school know about too long and wonder how we get young of the name West Indies and how we get to be West Indian. How we get to be West Indian. How much children in a primary school ask them question there. Mama, how me is a Jamaican and my name West Indian? Because we never reach the African part yet. I could just stay in a Jamaica, yes, so. How we in a Jamaica and yes, and we is a West Indian. I wonder if the people them down at Ochi, we have the inbound shop them, I'm a real father, I don't know. You know, your daddy is your daddy, but you don't know. We tend not to want to, because we hold on something so long, we tend not to want to hear something else to disrupt we thinking. And that is really problematic, especially to black people. Because we know about Cecil Rhodes. But black people keep insisting that one of the biggest tribute them could have given them in a them scholarship is to give them a Rhodes Scholarship. Can't take that from certain black people, Rhodes Scholarship. People love to hear that. Them is a Rhodes Scholar. But we know what Rhodes Scholar, we know what Rhodes did, Cecil Rhodes did to Africa, to Southern Africa. But we keep looking through the eyes of the people them who put in this problem in the first case and expect to get redemption and salvation. Yeah, we expect to get redemption and salvation because we are look through the eyes politically, socially, economically, religiously, all the other them where you can find. we seem to be looking through the eyes of other people to find our redemption and our liberation. Oh, that can't work. That cannot work. That cannot work. Our culture is vast. We have so much parts of that culture to select from. But we throw it where to pick up the culture of the people them who enslave us for 400 years and who enslave our mind for almost 2,000 years. Almost 2,000 years. And we can see the reflection of African people, how they mimic almost, become them own enslaver. Yes. Them looking at the mirror and them not like themselves. You know, this thing where black woman keeps saying that them have to do something to their ear because it's hard to manage. What the hell is that? Your ear hard to manage? I mean, really? If your ear hard to manage, then where you going to do? Cut it off. Or make it just grow. It's just simple. It's two things. It's like you're going to cut off the whole light. Since it's hard to manage. Anything we're hard to manage, you just cut it off. I mean, your teeth them very hard to manage. You have to clean them every morning, sometimes twice a day and all them some things each up in your teeth. People don't draw out them teeth because it's hard to manage. Black people have a choice because we know so your teeth have that purpose. It helps you to eat and chew and all them something. So you know and draw out your teeth because it's hard to clean. But when people looking at the mirror and look, especially women, and see them ear and say it's hard to manage, cut it off or make it grow. But don't say it's hard to manage. That means say, for all who believe in a God now, you try to say God never know where I do. When they make black people the ear where them have, that is so hard to manage, that might look like a next people. You know, see something wrong with that. If you have to validate yourself through the spectacles of a next group of people, and in that tongue with that, you validate yourself through the spectacle of the next group of people. But you're actually becoming the group of people. If the white man use him God to go through earth, that anytime him stick him flag, even when you hear the president of America say, when them done them speech, them always done them speech, God bless America. God bless America. And in a them heart of hearts, them really believe that God bless America. Even when them go out there and bomb people place, them feel say God bless them. The idea of a man crash and lose one of him foot and let him say, boy, I'm give thanks, say God just never take the 2 foot. It's a crazy thing that we say, you know. This is the God where you search for now and you say, boy, at least him never make me lose my 2 foot. You have to ask the question, and why did he make you lose one? And then you have some people where say, why are you something? We keep regurgitating and repeating the same foolishness them and not ever think about it. The 4 corners of the earth. When it done, come to the conclusion and say, the earth is not a square. So all we have corner of the earth. Because the man who did originally say that, it actually believed that. Just like when believe that the horizon out of the sea there, the sky, they touch it. It's like a dome. The sky is like a dome. And them say 4 corners of the earth, and we actually keep repeating it like it's something sensible, where I say. We keep repeating it. And if somebody come and say, well, 4 corners, why I got over that far? Them thing them, I just saw it talk. Yeah, so we talk, that's why we get confused. Because they don't set them thing already in a for them thinking, and for them meaning, and for them understanding. So we don't know nothing else because we not study our way. The Native Americans talk about our way, relating to what them ancestors bring to the table as it relates to how them live and how them understand life, nature. And all indigenous people understand life through the spectacles of them ancestors. And it get handed down and handed down to the younger ones. And the generations feed our fight. But here comes some gun people and some intentive people who is intent on taking our things, taking our land, taking our people, and then bring for them thing. And we not knowing them intention, get caught up in the thing. So we reach this stage now, 21st century. And we look on, just like we hear the clip we just talked about a while ago. How we go free our brothers and sisters when them take the enslaver religion and them keep it to them heart more than the enslaver themselves. The enslaved accept the enslaver religion more than the enslaver themselves. Because while the enslaver used fame religion to free himself, we are used fame religion to put us more enslaved, put us more in slavery. And when we look at our television and look at them evangelists, black or white, and when we look at the clips them will come out of Africa where the church them where the black preacher them a do and say, you realize we have a far way to go in this struggle here. We have a far way to go. How can a man don't work? Well, when I say preaching and not work, preaching and work. How can a man use a church where you have thousands of members in the church, and every time him keep the church, him collect millions of dollars, and him have other things where go on apart from the church service to make him get millions of dollars, and him living at this and him buy this and him flying a plane all over and everything there, and you know see something wrong with that. Him is like a star. Him is like a DJ who make it big. And I did hear a pastor say so one time in Jamaica, you know. Him is a bishop now. Him very big up there now. Very, very big. Used to tear down Rasta in the early days when him there Montego Bay. Him say that if the reggae artists, the DJ, them and all them people there cannot talk all them foolishness there and make money. We, meaning the preacher, them what talk about God, should have money too. The problem is that the DJ them and the artists them are use them talent not saying that them using it in the name of this or that. Them are sing, whether them are sing nastiness or whether them are sing whatsoever them are sing. Them are make money as part of them earning. The preacher is giving us a hope. You know, them say faith is the substance and things hope for and the evidence of things not seen. He is giving us a hope that there is a reward in heaven, because it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than a rich man to go to heaven. And then black people is the only set of people I hear go around the place and say, well, I don't want rich, I just want to have enough. Only set of people I hear say that. I never in a conversation with a white man and tell him, I say, well, Muta, I am totally okay. I don't really want to be rich, I just want to have enough. Black people, white people don't talk those ways. And not only that, them have a belief in that. Look here, you see where we die so now? No worry about you, so man. When we die, there's a better life, better place. Better life and better place. I want you to listen to this. Listen to this carefully.
Contrary to that highly publicized prediction, the world did not end over the weekend, which means a number of preachers who live like rock stars will get to continue living the good life. How good? Here's Lisa Guerrero and the I Squad with a look at some who've been preaching prosperity who are living large.
Fresh wind! Fresh!
They are some of the most popular TV preachers in the country.
We're family here!
They urge the faithful followers to donate generously, and in return, the Lord will bring them prosperity.
I'm not going to be going to heaven and be broke when I get there.
And there's no denying some people have prospered handsomely.
Wow!
The pastors themselves. They live like rock stars with huge mansions, private jets, and fancy cars. Their lifestyles are so lavish, 6 of them have been investigated by the U.S. Senate, like Paula White, who lives in multi-million-dollar homes in New York City and Tampa, Florida. And Creflo Dollar. He gets around in style, flying in private jets to preach around the country. He owns this mansion in an exclusive Atlanta suburb.
Mr. Dollar, how do you
Not one of them would agree to an interview about their opulent lifestyle.
How do you justify your $1 million mansions and your jets to all of your donors, sir?
Oh, yeah.
But when it comes to opulence, few religious leaders compare to Kenneth Copeland.
You and I are supposed to always have.
To show you his house, we rented this helicopter so you can see his 18,000 square foot mansion valued at over $6 million. He lives in this home outside Fort Worth, Texas. It has beautiful water views and comes complete with a boathouse. But that's not all. Copeland is an avid pilot, and here's his pride and joy, a $20 million Cessna Citation jet. It's the fastest private jet money can buy. He said he needed it to better serve the Lord, and proudly did a flyby for his followers after the church bought it.
Shout amen!
But it's not just one plane. We found a fleet of planes registered to the church. And you won't catch him waiting in line at the airport because he's got his own, the Kenneth Copeland Airport, located right next to his mansion.
I think Copeland is unbelievably greedy.
Ole Anthony heads the Trinity Foundation, a religious watchdog group that worked closely with the Senate committee investigating Copeland and other TV preachers.
Televangelism alone is at least a $2.5 to $3 billion industry, untaxed, unregulated.
That's right. By law, religious groups like Copeland's are exempt from federal taxes, and they don't have to report how they spend their money to anyone.
Amen.
Copeland's church takes in tens of millions a year through donations and selling books and DVDs to his donors.
She sent them a lot of money, a whole lot of money.
When Christy Parker's mother died of cancer, she found diaries that showed her mother sent Copeland most of her life savings, hoping hoping her faith and donations would cure her of her terminal disease.
What do you think of Kenneth Copeland's lifestyle?
TV doesn't do it justice. Their office furniture is probably worth more than most people's houses. It makes you sick.
Copeland refused our request for an interview, so we caught up with him at an event in North Carolina.
Why you're living such a lifestyle of luxury off of church donations?
Ma'am, I don't think we have time for this. Thank you.
Why won't you answer our questions?
A hotel employee tried to prevent us from taping.
Oh, wait. Hold on.
Come here.
It's just a simple question, sir.
Yes, and I'm going to give you a simple answer.
Thank you.
My lifestyle follows the scripture. We give, we believe, we're open.
You have a fleet of private jets. Why is that necessary? You're a minister. How many private jets do you have?
That is none of your business.
Right after that, he walked away.
Although Copeland says he cooperated with the Senate investigation, the Senate committee disagreed, saying only 2 television preachers did, Joyce Myers and Benny Hinn. And the committee recommended that the IRS investigate further.
May I tell you? So, you ever look on your television and looking at the audience and see them man preach? Most of the time, pure black people, well, not pure black people, but a whole heap of time, it's a whole heap of black people in there, you know. And you bet said them black people there in a least position for donate than the white audience were in there, you know. And I bet you said them give more to the preacher than the white audience, you know. It's like black people love go to courts and buy the biggest sofa we're in there. We can't have a hole in them house. The sofa with them offer. Can't hold in them house, you know, but them prefer buy it that people come in there and say, Lord, your sofa pretty. Can't hold in there. Because sometimes I look the sofa them it's too long. And when you look on the state of African people in Africa, where the religion are move more and more into Africa and moving more and more out of Europe and the other places. People want to tell you, say, Christianity is a black religion. Says black people come up with it. Now, which part you get that from? Because I know, say, Christianity starts in the so-called Middle East. The Middle East, Christianity starts in the Middle East. The ideas of Christianity develop from the Middle East. But then black people come up with it. It's like we there, so now attack English. I know we come up with English. Our colonial masters make we attack English. Because we never come here attack English. When Columbus land out at Discovery Bay, the Taínos them never attack English. But when you read your history book, it sounds like the conversation that are going between Columbus people them and the Taínos them about where them can't find gold and where them can't find this. No go so. The Taínos them never know English. We come on as African, as enslaved people, we never know English. But we talk English in a colonial state. Because this is a colonial state. This is a colony of Britain. Still is a colony of Britain. So, the argument is, these people who keep saying that Christianity is a black man religion, who started? It derived from African retentive elements, but it was conjured up by the colonial masters in the Middle East, so-called. And who are those colonial masters? The Romans and the Greeks. The Romans and the Greeks were the colonial masters at the time. They are the ones who use African retentive elements and create and design something that would pacify rebellions that took place against the Roman Empire and the Greek Empire, the Greco-Roman Empire. So why we are say that? We are say that when we look upon how it playing out right now, not only in America, but in Jamaica and the Caribbean and in Africa, when we saw it play out now, and we say, but how black people, how we can see say, this thing may work for an individual, because no doubt it will work for some individuals, but as a collective, you know, it's like the Jews empire is not individual. The Jews are collectively controlling certain things. A lot of the things them that we believe and think we hear, say we hear and think we see. It is a delusion. So the Jews, the country of so-called Israel is a small country. But guess what? The people them who's outside of that small country is aligned and swear alliance to that country and its belief system politically. So they move themselves as a nation. We as African people, nah say we are going. As we say, but we nah look. We are look, but we nah see. That people are move forward, and Africans are move forward too. But the rate at which Africans are moving is like we are move too slow. And every time we make a stride, quick stride, there's someone there to carry it back to where it was originally. So it make the work harder. Because when we look on these boasted slaves in a Jamaica, you know, them not think say them all them art of ours, because it's a reality. A man cannot do wickedness and them not feel say wickedness he might do, you know. Can feel say he might help something or someone. A man cannot do wickedness and don't feel say you can't. As a matter of fact, if you do the wickedness in the name of God, if you do the wickedness in the name of a political ideology, and don't feel no way. And if you come tell him different, him say, you're idiot. You don't know what you say. So it's not like these people is so wicked in them intentions. It's that there is a lack of vision. There's a lack of understanding of how the thing work. And we not claim to know all the workings. Because I said there's certain things so blatantly in front of we. And if it's blatantly in front of we, how the hell we can't see it as a group, as a nation? Why is it so difficult to recognize and understand where happened to Africa and what is still happening to African people outside of Africa? That we can still keep saying we are West Indian and say it no matter. That we can still say the four corners of the earth and still no matter. Who decide all of those realities or logics that we keep repeating it over and over and over and over without even thinking, and use it as a milestone to conceptualize other things that we claim and believe is a reality. It's a terrible thing. Because when we move towards them because of them. So the way we eat, a man tell you, say, why that not good for you? You say, well, why you talk about Muta? The thing nice like why? You know, to say everybody has sell it and I eat it. So them put some things in front of you and them fast food. Them put something in front of you and them cigarette. Cigarette. Legal cigarette. And you can't tell certain man, say, you might tell to allow him, make him smoke him cigarette. Because I'm going dead anyway. It's like I tell himself, you know, him don't want dead anyway. He want to live a wonderful, prosperous, and happy life. It's like I tell himself. But that is the logic for them put in front of him to make him feel, say, boy, right now, allow me make me smoke my cigarette. Because you go all the walk and I can't lick you down. As them thinking them put in front of you. So cigarette help to facilitate a disease that them call cancer. But the man say, boy, I smoke for 20 years, I'm not cancer, and on the 21st year, I go to doctor, yes, I have cancer. Cigarette help to facilitate the thinking that you have in your way depress you, to make you want to kill yourself. Alcohol, cigarette, all of these things is men and people way of showing you say, we control you, you know. Because it's easier for them to come out right than we, because we are going to have more problems. So man try to drown him sorrows in alcohol and